Rumble, rumble, rumble. Kicks that everybody wants to use right now because it's so hot. It's melting even the coldest of hearts. Let's have a look how it's actually made.
Let's get ready to rumble!
And before we start, please consider subscribing so you won't miss any future uploads. There are many ways how to make the rumble kicks. First one that I really like is basically using its own sound to create the rumble. I'm gonna load in a kick sample. I'm using the Sennheiser Peak Time Driving Techno pack. There are some pretty amazing kicks. How about we just load in this one? Like on its own, it's already pretty punchy. Now there's just one little tip that I can give you. Don't try to create your own kicks. Just basically get a good sample. Now this one, it says it's an F sharp. You can always like pitch your tracks up and down. I'm gonna duplicate it because we need one extra. And this one is going to be the rumble. So how are you gonna make it rumble? I'm gonna take the reverb from Ableton and we basically want to have loads of the low end in there and we're gonna put the drive all the way up. Put the diffusion all the way up. Let's go super crazy and make it very wide. Basically what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to freeze and flatten. And now what we can do is just to take this part out and over here, that's the rumble. Now let's play them together. Now if you want to have this, you know, sound more like a rumble. Let's take the auto filter and what we're going to do, we're going to filter the high end to up about here and then we're going to listen. That sounds pretty cool, but we are actually clipping a little. So let's put these both about -3 dB. So we have a little bit of a problem over here and it's called phasing. So if you see over here, our kick is actually fighting with the rumble. So we want to fix that. Let's just split these two and over here we're gonna be looping this one and all I want to do is just to move this around. By the way guys, if you like this video so far, please give it a subscribe. It helps the channel grow and it helps me to bring you some more videos. So what we're gonna be moving is actually this first slider so you can see it moves in time. Let's zoom in and maybe the best option here would be just to turn off the grid. Actually, this sounds pretty cool. So I'm gonna keep that and just to make it sound a little bit nicer, let's use the shaper box. Let's click here on the volume, just change this to 1/4 and we're gonna go for some side chains. Let's go for the crazy one. Yeah, that's more like it. Make it a little bit smoother. And then I want to keep this ending a little bit more. And you can see there is still a little bit of this little thingy there, but you can always move it a little bit further and find where you think it sounds the best. If you use your ears, it's always the best bet. So let's just make this a little bit more sharp and let's keep on listening. I actually like this. It's very deep. I'm gonna duplicate this just so I have the same one over here because I like how it sounds. Let's just try moving this one again and see where we're gonna get. Now I have two of these, so let's put this one here and let's listen which one I like the most. And I think this one is a winner for me. It just has that nice, you know, low end to it. All right, so that's gonna be my low end. Now there is a little trick that you can use actually. If you go to your audio effects and type in rumble, it's gonna show you this preset. What you want is just now duplicate this several times and then pick the one that you will like the most. Have them all play with the kick. You can also look at the waveform, but just use your ears and listen to where you think it's like sounds great. I can actually even do this more times and now I'm just gonna freeze this without the shaper box, of course. And let's freeze and flatten. And now I'm just gonna put that shaper box back in. And there are a few that I love, like this one. Has a very nice sound. I'm gonna highlight it green. I like this one too. Pretty neat. And there was this one that I particularly like. If you look at the imager, you will notice that its sound is more or less stereo. So you can see that even it phases out. Now we need to fix that because we don't want it like this. So easiest thing you can do is just basically take utility over here and just click on base mono. Of course, I need to put the imager behind it. Let's try 130. And I noticed that I like some of these a little bit more. So let's just move them in. Let's see how happy are we with this. And I would say the first one is the winner. By the way, guys, if you like this video so far, don't forget that you can give it a like. You can comment below what you think about it, and you can subscribe to the channel. It really helps me to put more content out for you. So we have a nice little bit of a low-endy rumble, and what we want to do right now is just to make it all glued together. So we come to our group over here, and I like to use the drum bus. It's just a really great effect. So you click on that, you put the drum bus on, so that's already gonna sound pretty cool. Oh yeah, Hulk would be so proud of me right now.
And Hulk. Smash.
And I can see that it's getting a little bit too loud, so I'm just gonna decrease that one more time over here. And I can see that my rumble actually could be a little bit louder, so I'm just gonna increase that one. Now, one thing that this thing is missing now is like some heavy click. We are working in techno, so we want this start of the sample to be a little bit more distorted. You can actually increase the transients here. Works pretty well. And you also want to add a reverb, about 900 milliseconds over here. We can just use it as is, and then over here let's try maybe -12. Maybe it could be stronger. Now this rumble on its own, it's pretty nice, but it's not warm enough. There is this beautiful thing called Bark of Dog. You can download in the description. We can put this here on our group, and we can just add a little bit of low end. I like to use the passive mode. And in the final EQ, all I'm gonna do is just add a little bit more mids. Unfortunately, it's clipping a little bit, so what we're gonna do is also decrease the output over here by a few dB. So we're not clipping and losing any information. Now, if you own a FabFilter Saturn, you can add this extra little thing on top, which I really love using. You can basically split this into two, and on the high end, what we're gonna do is just gonna add an envelope follower. Come over here and click and say transient, and we're gonna work with the transient and saturate the transient. So we're gonna make our kick a little bit more clicky and give it that, you know, trash sound that we like in techno. So I'm gonna click in over here, put the drive all the way down, move this here, and now let's lift it up. And you can hear it has a nice character and it just sounds pretty cool. And when combined with the bass line, it sounds sort of like this. It would be actually really cool, right, if you know how to make a great sub-bass, percussions, and, you know, to make the track of your dreams. And for that, I actually have something for you. It's a free masterclass on how to make trance music. All you need to do is to check link in the description, click on that, and take your journey. That actually will help you make your music great. And I can guarantee that, and so many of these amazing students actually say the same thing. That's all it is about. Click on the link in the description and see for yourself if what I teach is worth your time. Now let's look at the second rumble. It's pretty simple because all you need is the kick, and then you can play with something called noise. Let's pick something over here. I really like this one. It already has a pretty crazy click. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add the drum bass on top of it. And I want to focus on that click in there and make so. Let's put some compressor on top of that. Let's go crazy on the drive. And let's put it to maybe 33%. I'm just gonna decrease the volume on the output, a little bit of clipping there. Like this is just enough. Now to get that low end, we can actually take Serum. I'm gonna turn off the oscillator A and turn on the noise. It's up to you which one you use. I'm gonna use the Alpha NZ for this case. Turn the volume up and turn on the filter. And remember exactly what we did before. We're gonna get rid of the low end and maybe add a little bit of this resonance. Basically going to create a low end noise. So if I put it in there, It's already creating what we wanted. You can have a look at the EQ and you can see that the rumble is there. Now let's hear it with the kick if we add a little bit of sidechain. And you can hear as that sample of a noise is progressing, it changes the sound. We're gonna do the same thing as we did before. We're gonna freeze and flatten just without the shaper box. And now we can actually even make it a little bit loud. And let's add that shaper box on top. And there are a few ones that I really like this one. And this one. So we can actually choose in between two of them. You can choose whichever you like. This is basically just to make that rumble. Now our kick has absolutely no punch, just sounds really weak. So let's put it into a group and let's find a little bit of a punch to it. So I'm gonna add an audio track. I'm gonna look for something that is really punchy. Yeah, like this one, for example. Let's put it on top. That's gonna be sort of a low end. And over here, what I'm gonna do, play with the EQ and get rid of what I don't need, which is the low end here. And I like this one actually. Let's try to move it around. Let's see what's gonna happen. I like this over here. EQ, and let's boost it up a little bit. We of course don't need the start of it. And maybe we can make it a little bit. That's more like it. Let's turn these two down, maybe by 3 dBs. And then we're gonna add this click on top. We don't need it as loud anymore, so let's just pull it down here. And I can hear that it's a little bit off, and it's probably because of how this kick is done. You can like take this part over here that feels like too long and do this. So that kick has a little bit nicer click in there. And now we have our second kick. Guys, if you're following me on Patreon, this is now available for you for download. So just head over and you can download it for free and have fun, create some rumble. The click on this kick is still not good enough. I think we can do a little bit better. There is a little trick to it. Take the saturator. We're gonna put the drive up to maybe like, I don't know, 10, let's say. And now we're gonna group this and we're gonna create chain. So now I have one channel that plays this crazy saturator. I'm gonna turn the volume down, add an EQ. I'm gonna get rid of the low end. Maybe keep this. Then we're gonna take a shaper box, and what we want to do is get the volume and just play around with it over here. Let's change this to 1/4, add a little point here, and pull it all the way down. So now I basically created a click. Now you can go crazy, you can increase the drive. And this way you create your own really nice sounding click. If we add a little bit of reverb to it, it's gonna sound really epic. And let's maybe increase this a little bit more. Now to finalize the beautiful sound, let's take the bark of dog again and let's just boost a little bit of the low end. Now in the final EQ of our kick over here, we can increase the punch a little bit by adding some low mids. This is a little bit too loud now. I'm gonna move this click a little bit lower. So we get a little bit more punch. Maybe add some mids here. And here on the boost, we're actually gonna go down a little bit with it hertz. That punches very nicely. And now this is how it's going to sound together with the bass line and some percussion. As you can see, there are so many ways how you can make this happen. Most of the time is about just having fun, you know, and to make it happen. So I'll let you guys pick which one you like the most, the one with the reverb or the one with the noise. I prefer the one with the reverb because it gives me the accurate key of my kick and it's much easier to work with. But as I said in the beginning, it's about a good sample and some creativity. So go have fun. Thank you very much for watching and see you for the next one.